Steve. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chris Tobey, American Honda Collision Business Specialist. A little bit about my background. I started fixing cars in a dealership when I was 17 years old. I have worked for a couple different manufacturers, fixing the unfixable, training technicians, designing curriculum, and now doing collision. So I do all the technical support for Honda. If you've seen Body Repair News, if you've taken an HON class, that's my work. If you loved it, it's my work. If you hate it, it's my work. All right, so let's look at some things that have changed since last year in the world of Honda, starting with body structure. Okay, this is, and my colleague Gary Ledoux touched on this this morning on the information presentation that was here. And that is that looks can be very deceiving. It used to be that a Honda model lasted 4, 5, 6 years and was the same car for all those years structurally. That is no longer the case. Because the regulations and the requirements, fuel economy, safety, crash tests are changing so fast, we've had to make modifications that we call minor model change. This used to be just bumpers, headlights, little things. And now we've actually made structural steel changes. This example here, we have a 2012 to 14 CRV, 780 MPa max steel. So there's no ultra high strength steel in that car from 2012 to 2014. 2015, the bumpers and the grille change, and what do you know? We've got 980 and 1500 in that car. That changes your entire approach of how you're going to repair this car and how you're going to do your repair plan. If you don't check the service information, you won't know that, because when these come in, guess what? A 14 and a 15 with the grille and bumper knocked off of them look exactly alike underneath. You can't tell this by the naked eye. So again, this is a good reason why service information and body repair information needs to be in your repair plan from day one, so you can make sure and plan this repair how it's going to go and try to minimize surprises. One piece steel door ring, mostly made of 1500 MPa. On the MDX, introduced in 2014, it's a single stamping. On this car, because of the higher volume, we make it out of multiple pieces, and then it's spot welded together at the factory. You have to replace this. Despite that, you have to replace this as an assembly, as a complete assembly, just like an MDX, when it's damaged. The reason for that is you can't get a spot welder into those locations to remake those joints that you see circled in there. So those are not repair access areas. You can't substitute mag welding, you can't substitute MIG brazing there, because that's a critical load path for the crash energy to go into. So that's a one-piece repair. It's just made this way, but you treat it just like an MDX. All right, let's look at 2016 Civic. Now there are 3 different 2016 Civics. There's a 4-door, there's a 2-door, and now there's a 5-door that's just come out. Each one of those cars has different steel application strategy in it. So again, you can't assume that because you worked on a 2016 4-door last week, that the 2017 5-door that rolls in 2 weeks from now is going to be the exact same car. You have to go look at the information. And by the way, there's one Body Repair News for all of these cars. So the 4-door, 2-door, and 5-door are all covered in 116 Civic Body Repair News, so you don't have to go digging out 4 different documents. To get out to the market, iCar helps us get there, and they delivered these for us and help keep track of who's completed them. And it starts with HON 10, which is everything you ever wanted to know about service information, how to use the service information, because I know you guys have to use everybody's different service information. It's all laid out differently. It's hard to keep up with. So here's the Honda story. I can't help you with the other guys. All right, everything in 11, everything you need about high strength steel, restraints for 12, 14 is electrical, and this is an Electron. We don't start there. So these modules can all be done online, and they can be done in an hour or less. That's the goal, preferably less. So it's the best 1 hour of money you'll invest for your technicians and for anybody. We require these for Pro First certification, but they're open to anybody in the industry. Our theory is that the more people that know about proper repair of Honda and Acura vehicles, the better off for everybody, the better off for our mutual customer. So, for example, electrical tells you all the things that you need to know about how to repair Hondas properly. How do you do a wire repair the Honda way? Can you repair this harness? Can you repair a restraints SRS system harness? So all those guidelines are in there. So it's focused on just what you absolutely need to know to do a proper repair. We're going to assume that you got some electrical training somewhere else in basic electricity and things like that. But our stuff's included in there. Last year here at SEMA, I did a little poll. I asked every shop, every technician that came into the Honda booth, do you know how to do MIG brazing? What do you think the most common answer I got was? What is MIG brazing? Okay, it's been around since 2009, been required on our cars since 2009. That's 8 years. Got to learn how to do it because it's not going to change. It's not that hard, even I can do it. So the nice thing about this class is it's a little bit of theory and it's some hands-on practice. So your techs can go to this class, they can learn how to do MIG brazing and all the different MIG brazes that are currently used in by the different automakers, and they can come out MIG brazing superstars. By the way, on Hondas and Acuras, we have two different MIG brazes. We have a single hole that's used for outer panel MIG brazing to ultra high strength steel, and we have a double hole. You do not take and make that double hole into a slot. So you need the material between the two holes for adequate joint strength. So there are some punches out there on the market that'll take and punch an oval hole. There's some manufacturers that use that, but it's dependent on what steel grades you're joining. So the steel grades that we apply are pretty aggressive, including 1500 MPa hot stamp. So don't do oval holes on Hondas. If it's a Honda, it should have any oval holes on it. Round holes. Why is this important? Okay, well, this is a MDX out of the body repair manual. So when we're putting the outer panel on this car, let's say we just had somebody bump into somebody and damage the outer panel. There's no structural damage to the car. In the door opening area, you're going to be able to spot weld that outer panel to the door stiffener ring. Because remember, the door stiffener ring lives right below the outer panel in this car. Outside on the cowl area and at the bottom, you can't get the jaws of a spot welder in there. So normally we'd mag plug that in place. You can't do that because you're going directly to 1500 MPa. So we do MIG brazes in those locations. So even for outer panel repair, you're still going to have to do MIG braze.